Hi Capricorns, welcome to your Scorpio season reading. I do hope that you are finding yourselves in good spirits and are very well at this time. I have cleansed the space with a singing bowl. I've used black and white sage on all my chakras and in this area, and I'm enjoying a wonderful glass of white tea with pomegranate right now. So I feel very aligned and present to be able to do this reading. All of my readings feel like I am kind of going through a channeling process, so if it seems like I move off into another realm, that may be why. And if you're not familiar with this reading, it does come out of the chakra ascension reads that I do on a daily basis. Those deal with an ascension process for the chakras, and this is sort of the final a coming together of the chakras into one, into the heart space, which is what our center card is going to signify. And then I have overlaid the Western astrological wheel here so that we can break the rays of this radiant sun that's within you into different aspects, and to be able to speak on them more distinctly, I guess we could say. So, just going to take a moment to bless this space as well. Calling in the universe, just pure energy of love and grace here. Okay, so I am going to start by reading. I don't read all of the cards, but I do, because the messages on the center card are just kind of short, I do like to read this one for you. Something you love may be coming to an end, and it's only natural for you to be saddened. However, this ending also provides a new beginning. All unfolds for your highest good. Life is full of transformation, and with a new beginning comes a new chapter in the story that is you. Okay. So, I'm hearing like that you are nostalgic. I'm especially hearing it around something with travel. You may miss traveling, and you may have a lot of fond memories from traveling, and for some reason it may just have your heart in a space that feels sweet and pure, but also kind of pulled with a little sadness. There's definitely a note of that in there. And I'm hearing like this could be kind of a reoccurring thing where it's getting stronger and stronger for you, and that you're kind of losing perhaps some patience within the process, and really wanting that cycle to fully close out, fully, so that you can actually step into an entire new cycle that would be going back to something that was before. And I'm hearing that, that isn't going to be possible. And I think that you're still trying to come to terms with that a little bit, that there are things in our reality that are somewhat forever changed. And it makes you feel kind of restricted and rebellious to a certain degree. Even if you've been pushing that down, that it's something that may be below the surface for you. Okay, I'd like to move on to your first house now and have a look at what is going on here. So this is your identity, what you may be showing publicly as well as yourself. It seems like I feel like you are distracted a little bit. I'm getting a sense of I want to hold back when saying this, but I have to say it because it's the truth. Anger, defensiveness, but not even so much that. Like you're just I feel like you've been in battle, you're going to stay in battle, you're ready to keep battling, and you're not too wore thin from this physically, but mentally I feel like it's been affecting you, especially psychologically. So there may be this emotional and mental energies kind of entwined together, so much so that it may be hard to find a distinction between the two of those. Again, I'm hearing repetition, conditioning, habit, like you're used to this, this way of being. Where it's become second nature to you. It's not even you consciously acting it out. Now let's have a look here at your second house of value. So I feel like you may have had this card in the last 3 or 4 months here. I'm feeling, again, a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of appreciation for almost something with a folk element to it, something that has charms of the past, a simpler way of being, of things that have, like, I'm hearing like the 50s and the 60s, like the charms of being in communities that still had some of their First Peoples or Indigenous peoples customs alive, yet were sort of exploited in the, I want to say in the travel industry and like tourism. And again, I'm feeling some type of nostalgia towards that. And an appreciation for that aesthetic. So maybe you're trying to get to that or preserve that in some way. And I guess what I'm hearing is that it's asking you not to look at this in a superficial way. I'm hearing become more conscious about this, become more critical about any of your interactions with cultures outside of yourself, cultures especially that appear in a hierarchy, equality. This seems to be a very necessary area for you to give some light to. Now your third house of communication. I have to kind of giggle here because it's about like getting somewhere in a way, like opening up something for you. So you may be actually realizing kind of like like you may be dealing with that sense of feeling trapped and realizing that within you or through you, you have areas to travel. And I think that you are going to be able to use that and to stimulate yourself and to provide a little bit of escape. You could be getting into, like esoteric studies, astronomy, astrology, any of the sciences, just things that take your mind on a journey and take you out of a sense that you are in, like the 3D dimension and that you're very limited within this dimension. So looking now at your fourth house of family and home, I am feeling like you may have had there may have been someone that passed in the last year or so, and you may be remembering the good things about them, the good times, the health of this person, and remembering maybe when they were with you that things were not so great. You may have someone in your space right now where you are finding yourself repeating the cycle with them, and in a way like reliving the pain, reliving the attachment, kind of, re-enchanting the bond, so very subconsciously almost, that you may have had with a person if they did pass, or maybe you just lost contact with them. I feel like what is being asked, though, is, again, for more consciousness and to look at continuing the relationship with anything that had maybe been broken from the past in a way that's more authentic, that doesn't bring any sentiment to it, and to actually deal with this, like deal directly with if whether or not they're here in the 3D, the relationship that's actually causing you to maybe engage in something that's actually rooted in this original relationship. Because this is in your home sector, family comes to mind, of course, very strongly. Anyone that would have been close to you in this type of environment, or that you would really consider family, that has that type of bond to you. Okay, now I am looking at your 5th house. This is your power and how you can put it out, and the reception that it's going to get. And I feel like you're kind of in a vacuum here. You're not necessarily showing up in a form that's highly enchanting, and it instead is, it almost has like a repulsiveness to it, and an overinflated sense of authority. And I know that I've felt this a lot for Capricorns. That position that this is countering is so natural to you that, when it's just of our nature, it's very hard to rework that and redo that. But what we can do is bring in more consciousness, and when we bring in the consciousness, the energy evolves and raises, and what it was just kind of transmutes itself into a new kind of layer or dimension of evolved energy. And so again, I feel like you're kind of losing your audience. You may feel like your thoughts are pure, and that kind of what it is, but in a way it's isolating you and you're not being heard. And there's been a lot with this in our collective consciousness, this assumed authority, and all that is getting questioned, and people want an equal voice. So there is going to have to be a invitation to have a sincere collaborative environment, and to not, because that's part of it, like you can't play the games anymore either of if there were any, like things are really going to have to be honest and authentic here. And of course with this, the balance in authority, the learning of holding the male and the female energies, the androgynous. Okay, so let's look here at your 6th house. This is a portion of the chart that deals with habits and daily routines and health. This is a fantastic card for you in energy. And again, it feels similar to some of the energies I've seen for you in the past. You may have really an accelerated process almost of the use of substances, and I do not mean that in a derogatory way whatsoever, but in the same way that I see you using things that are physical. I mean, being an earth sign, you're going to gravitate to the actual physical things. There is a mental or a spiritual consciousness that needs to come through as well, which I've been kind of speaking on. The same kind of work that you've done here in the physical plane needs to be mirrored. Otherwise, and I think that you start with the physical and hope for the spiritual, but there is like the spiritual, and then that creates the physical. That so you almost have it like in reverse. But you know, it looks like there is some integrity here, like you are doing what you can to open yourself. It's a lot of this energy too, to something beyond you, but I don't quite think that you've got there yet. But I see that it could be there soon. This is an adorable card. I'm going to hold that up for you a little bit, so hopefully you can kind of see it. And again, there's something about, so this is a Virgo, there's something about Virgo energy that feels so natural for you. It just feels right, like you're almost exalted in it, you take a lot of comfort in it. And, you know, being that it has order and structure and routine to it, there's something about that is almost like a practice for your mental health, basically. That's what I'm seeing there. So now we're going to look at the 7th house of the Libra energy. This is the Venusian energy, so beauty, harmony, fairness, relationships. I'm hearing like you're kind of hunting, but not super aggressively. Like it's easy almost, and there's really no challenge to it, and it almost has some of this Virgo energy to it. Like it's easy, it's pleasurable. So you may have something going on in your relationship sector right now where you are actively dating. It just seems to be an area that isn't complicated. There's no difficult energies coming through this. And I feel like you show up real earthy here. Like you don't carry the energies that I sense in some of these other areas that are difficult, sort of because they're repressed, and you know, and then there's a charade that comes out over the repression or something. This feels very natural and earthy, you know, like you showing up like yourself. So I like that for you a lot. Now, the 8th house, this is the energy that the sun is going to be in, so it's Scorpio. The deeper things in life, the secrets, the psychology. And I don't know how many times, at least for earth energy, if not for Capricorn specifically, I've had rainbows show up the last for like 3 or 4 months. So this could have something to do with, you know, one of the more obvious associations that we have at present with the rainbow. Being able to be outspoken and authentic. It is in that house that's hidden, though. So there may be some issues. You might be an activist. You may be considering being an activist. You just may hold some concerns about this. For LGBTQ communities. You may be part of this. Doesn't have to be about this at all, though. This is definitely taking things that are considered singular and being able to break them apart, though, being able to give more distinction to life, more color to life. And you may be feeling that process within you, kind of like an inner transformation. And it may be something that can help really energize you, bringing in more complex views of things, bringing color in, bringing emotion in. So it may be really helpful for you to do like a color therapy exercise if you feel like you need something, and to speak authentically, or to speak for other people. You know, when I see this type of bird, I think of mimicry a little bit, and you know, the repeating. So there may be something that you're repeating and helping through that repetition to get a message out, or that you are starting to get an inkling of that maybe you should be doing. In your 9th house, which is dealing with things that are beyond you, higher thinking, we have a nice echoing here. I hear like you're trying to figure out what's play and what's serious, and that like thought, like being taken very seriously is important to you, the rational mind, the logical mind, and where, you know, like where is the play in that, and you don't seem to find any fun in that. So you may be more like stoic, or just very disciplined and more in alignment with the values of the logical mind. Yet I see that you like to use that framework to explore things that are a little bit different than your own, perhaps, culture. And I would say that in doing this starts to shift back into this other energy that I was getting, where it becomes kind of inauthentic, because you're not fully invested, you're not fully immersed, you're more of the observer, you're more of like a judge of all of this. The qualitative properties are really important to you, and it lacks a certain emotive quality, an emotive investment. But nevertheless, there does seem to be a level of intrigue in something that is beyond you intellectually. Now, your house here, the 10th, is your legacy, what you're really building up, your true strengths that you can give to the world. Yeah, okay, what I'm hearing is that you may have people around you, friends, family, your social circle basically, and you're all very much of the same mold. And it's actually very like two-dimensional. It's highly polarized. And it's like you don't have a lot of individual identity. Yet when you start seeking and going higher and collectively, there's something about the comfort of having to do this collectively. You may be the type of person that kind of moves like that, like the validation of other people could be important to you when you are doing things. And I see you with people moving towards something that that feels that it should be bright and blissful and whatnot, yet there's sort of like a barrier, like you can't quite get there. So again, I'm getting that like trying to travel kind of vibe here, and like you can't, even if you go, it's like there's just something about it that isn't as pleasurable and freeing as you would like it to be. So maybe you're trying to go to a gathering, a festival, just something, and I don't really know how much of that's going on yet, but yeah, it just seems like a struggle. But there, because this is in your 10th house, this may be something that's really important to you. There may be travel and groups of people and working together with kind of like a group thought mentality that's really like what you know, what you really enjoy doing. And I'm just feeling some blockage and difficulty around that. And stubbornness, like you still trying to push for it, because if I read this as like a goose, very, stubborn energy, headstrong energy. Okay, so this is your 11th house, really your rebellious energy, also your tribe, and your humanitarian. I feel like you're a little uncomfortable with yourself and your identity. It just makes you feel maybe a little uneasy or something. I'm also hearing, what is that, like the insecure. Maybe a history of this even through childhood, something about insecurity and being really strict about who you are. And as you move your identity around, I feel as if, again, it needs like the approval, the validation of other people. And I'm also hearing not fitting in. You see the outer reality, the more common reality, the more mainstream reality is just like not for you. Like there's nowhere for you to operate within that. So maybe you've always had kind of like an outsider, which would be perfect for this house position, kind of that outsider lone wolf quality to you. And because of that could be something that's affecting your identity and your sense of self-esteem to a certain degree here. I feel, again, like some of the energy I was getting here, it's almost like at a very subconscious level. So you may not be fully aware of this at present consciously, but it's almost like you feel it. And even if you don't physically feel it, you feel it energetically, and it doesn't feel comfortable for you. Okay, Capricorn, your last card is the House of Transcendence. Or it could go the completely other direction as well, like descendant. Yeah, again, this shifts back into this lovely energy that I get off of these two houses. I feel like when you're alone, you're really, really relaxed. You really enjoy that energy. It makes you receptive, and you don't have to worry about all these politics. You don't have to worry about your identity out in the public and how that's received, and you're just kind of free from all of that. So it's very comforting for you. And I'm also hearing like you don't have to be as attached to gender politics either, that you get more into just understanding the energy and enjoying that. I'm hearing that, and this is going to back to this energy, that it almost helps you touch into an energy if you lost someone or if you've been distant from someone, that being alone helps you kind of encapsulate their energy a little bit more and feel them more, and take what was good through that if you don't end up like reconnecting with them, but learning how to maybe take some of the virtue and the good qualities and actually have those become integrated into yourself, and that it will be very, very healing for you. But it's important to take what was actually virtuous here. Yeah. Okay, so Capricorn, I, from my heart, hope that this was filled with some insight for you. Absolutely grateful to be able to share these messages with you. I am sending you blessings, I am sending you love, and I'm sending you wishes for healing and prosperity. You guys have a wonderful Scorpio season. Talk to you next time.